Shalom. It's almost Shabbat. A couple more days. We should be resting every day in Messiah. If you haven't watched 12 Tribes Diatribe, me and Hushai go into what truly is rest in Messiah. Hebrews 3 into Hebrews 4. And it is the obedience in Elohim. Go to verse 18. And to whom did he swear that they would not enter into his rest, but to those who did not obey? So we see that they were unable to enter in because of unbelief. Therefore, since a promise remains of entering into his rest, let us fear lest any of you seem to have come short of it. For indeed the good news was brought to us, as well as to them, but the word which they heard did not profit them, not having been mixed with belief in those who heard it. For we who have believed do enter into that rest. As he has said, as I swore in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest. And yet his works have come into being from the foundation of the world. For somewhere he has said thus about the seventh day, and Elohim rested on the seventh day from all his works, and in this again, if they shall enter into my rest, since then it remains for some to enter into it, and those who formerly received the good news did not enter in because of disobedience, he again defines a certain day, today, saying through David, so much later, as it has been said, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. For if Yehoshua had given them rest, he would have not spoken of another day after that. So there remains a Sabbath keeping for the people of Elohim. For the one having entered into his rest has himself also rested from his work, as Elohim rested from his own. Let us therefore do our utmost to enter into that rest, lest anyone fail after the same example of disobedience. If we are continually pursuing our own works, we are not truly in his rest. Very difficult when there's plenty of work to do. But not super difficult because he's God and we're just people. So. Get your water, get your coffee, get your Gatorade, get your kombucha, get your iced tea, get your mint lemonade. Let's drop to our knees and let's pray. Father Yahweh, we know that you're perfect. We praise you, we pray to you. We want all your things and all your glory fulfilled. Let the Spirit speak through me tonight, and let me bless the people. Bless the people through me. I have no power without you. I have no authority without you. I love you super duper so much. You're so great. And the word which you speak to me come true. If only I uphold my hand. Father Yahweh, you are perfect, you are glorious. Let's get this. We can start making room for your kingdom. In Yeshua name, amen. Okay. We have some psalms and such to do tonight. It is day 214. And we're doing Psalm 60 to 62 and Romans 5. Lots and lots of goodies and information, and lots of studying, lots of Elohim. Apparently some crying, as I see at the top of 61. But let's start in 60. O Elohim, you have rejected us. You have broken us. You have been displeased. Turn back to us. You have made the earth tremble. You have broken it. Heal its breaches, for it is shaken. You have let your people see hardship. You have made us drink the wine of trembling. You have given a banner to those who fear you, that it might be lifted up. Because of the truth, Selah, that those you love might be rescued. Save with your right hand and answer me. Elohim has spoken in his set apartness. I exalt, I portion out Shechem and measure out the valley of Sukkot. Gilad is mine, and Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is the defense of my head. Yehuda is my inscriber. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom I cast my shoe. Shout loud, O Philistia, because of me. Who would bring me to the strong city? Who shall lead me to Edom? Have not you, O Elohim, rejected us? And you do not go out, O Elohim, with our armies. Give us help from distress, for the help of man is not. In Elohim we do mightily, and he treads down our adversaries. You know, I'm thinking about how, churches are the place that I want to be. Like, they're the people that I want to be around. But I don't agree theologically with them, for the most part. And they've already got their pastor leader. And so my involvement there, I'm not necessarily able to plug in where I should be plugging in. My sports stuff. Basketball, volleyball, baseball. So I'm athletic. So shows my shoe rack. I was going to say they don't stink, but because I don't wear a lot of them because there's a lot of shoes there. And I've given away a lot more. Gave away a whole closet full of clothes. Brand new clothes with tags on them that I bought when I was 18-ish, 19, 20. And thousands of dollars. Gave them to a re-entry program for people who just got out of jail. O Elohim, you have rejected us. You have broken us. You have been displeased. Turn back to us. The sermon that I went to tonight was quoting Psalm 51. Wash me completely from my guilt and cleanse me from my sin. Against you, you alone have I sinned. See, you have desired the truth in the inward parts, and the hidden part you make me know wisdom. The slaughtering of Elohim are a broken spirit, a heart broken and crushed, O Elohim. These you do not despise. David oftentimes, always sinning. No, he wasn't always sinning. He's a man after Yah's own heart, says Acts 13:22. But he goes through his troubled times. We've seen one pastor who describes him as manic, which I think is an okay word, but I don't think it does justice to David, because there's times in our life, there's ups and downs, right? And these prayers to Elohim are long thought out and beautiful and written down nonetheless. A lot of my, I don't ever write my prayers down. I don't really write anything down ever. I don't even write my word. I'm fortunate to have these Bible reading videos that I can go back and consult if I need to. And you can do that too. But I don't much write things down. And so for him to have written these down through his strife and his triumph, we see, deliver me from my enemies. Would you speak righteousness in silence? Give ear to my prayer. The fool has said in his heart, show me favor, O Elohim, show me favor. Save me by your name. El Elohim Yahuwah shall speak. Why do you boast in evil, O mighty man? Show me favor, Elohim. Then we've got ones like this. Great is Yahuwah and greatly to be praised. Oh, clap your hands, all you peoples. Hear this, all you peoples. Elohim is our refuge and strength. As a deer longs for water in the streams, my heart is overflowing with a goodly word. O Elohim, we have heard with our ears. I waited for Yahuwah. I have said, let me guard my ways against sinning with my tongue. Blessed is he who considers the poor. So, if we look, there's 150 Psalms here. Obviously David was, I don't know how old David was. 80 years old, probably. When he dies, but he reigned over Israel for 40 years, and he died in an old age, a good old age, satisfied with days, riches, and esteem. And Shlomo his son reigned in his place. 1 Chronicles 29, 27 to 29. So if you think about 150, if he wrote one of these a week over a 3-year period of time, one a month, you know what I mean? We don't know when these are spread out. And I hear a lot of pastors say oh, well, this, in this psalm, he just stolen Bathsheba and gotten the punishment of it. And it's no, we don't know that. There might be some context for specific ones and specific events, but we don't know that. And we don't know when he started writing these, and we don't know, on what day after what event, it's not and the word of Yahweh came to David and blah, 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 and then he wrote Psalm 61. It's we just have to take it for what it is as, prayerful consideration of the ups and downs of our life, because they occur. And as we're going through life, we have to consult with Elohim. And this gives us a means to do so, because it shows that no matter what state of mind David was in, at his highest and at his lowest and everywhere in between, he comes to Yahuwah. And so we can't only go to God. I've had a lot of people say, well, even Jelly Roll, I only talk to God when I need a favor, and we need to exalt him in our highest as well. And we forget to do that sometimes. Sorry for the times that I've forgotten to do that. I feel like I'm on a good track with Elohim now. Turn back to us a repentant heart. As we saw in Psalm 51, that repentant heart is what will make Elohim turn back to you. You can tell if somebody wrongs you and they're just sorry, you know that they're not sorry, but if they say, hey, I'm really sorry, I should have asked you before I did this, or I should have, consulted you, or I should have whatever, you can see the heart of their repentance, and you can see how much more how much they care about you, as opposed to how much they're going through the motions of the exercise of apology. Turn back to us. He's happy to. Lovingly committed. You have made the earth tremble. You have broken it. Heal its breaches, for it is shaken. You have made the earth tremble. You have broken it. Heal its breaches, for it is shaken. You have let your people see hardship. You have made us drink the wine of trembling. Oftentimes there's a wine analogy. Drunk with the wine of our whoring in Revelation. There's a couple other. Drink the wine of your vengeance. And this is like it is pleasurable while you're doing it, but the side effects, the outcome, the consequences are unnerving. You have given a banner to those who fear you, that it might be lifted up because of the truth. A banner, like, just picture like I wonder if there's another word for this, but what I'm seeing with a banner is the an indicator of ownership. Give a signal to those fearing you, is what the New World Translation says, which I like, because, yeah, that's an indicator, a signal, something like, just to show. I remember when we were at the Rock, we carried this banner. It was 250 people rocking through downtown Fort Smith, Arkansas, screaming "pedophiles suck," and we had a Caleb House banner. Just to let everybody know who we were and what we were doing. To those who fear you, that it might be lifted up because of the truth. Selah. It's an indicator. You've given people who walk around with Jesus, you can see. I spent time with a young lady tonight who was engaged, and we just met, 22 years old, and beautiful young lady, and we were talking by the games, hanging out. I was like, I'll help you clean up, and so the games and stuff went in the garage, which is like an attic, and like, I've walked up to women that can't talk to you at all, and this young lady had started the conversation with me, was able to start the conversation with me. And, obviously, like I said, she's engaged, so a different kind of covering also, but having Jesus is the only way that you accomplish this as a young woman. Started the conversation with me, and then went with me and her little nephew, small child, into a dark attic to put these games away. And I just recognized the confidence in doing that when you meet a strange man, that it's hard enough to get a woman to talk to you like anywhere, that only the ones who have Jesus are absolutely fearless. They recognize the truth in people because they live within the truth of themselves. And so you have given a banner, a signal, an indicator to those who fear you. Because she fears God, she fears Jesus, she knows that she has to fear no man, which is incredible. And there's a lot of fear in this world right now. This world is absolutely operating on fear. and strife and struggle and work, and we are going to get smacked in the face. And those who have Jesus, those who are without fear, are going to thrive. They're going to thrive. That those you love might be rescued. Exactly. Save with your right hand and answer me. Your right hand is your strong hand. We read about, I haven't read it in a while, but Israel, Jacob in Genesis, I want to say 48. Start at 13. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, the Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the youths. And let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a great people. He also becomes a people, and he is also great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed to become the completeness of the nations. And he blessed them on that day, saying, in you Yisrael shall bless, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yisrael said to Joseph, see, I am dying, but Elohim shall be with you, and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite with my sword and my bow. The right hand is the strong hand. I'll say if you're left-handed, you're wrong, but you're different. Your place in this world is different than a man of a right hand. I wonder how many actual world leaders are left-handed. I feel like Elon Musk is. He just seems like a lefty. Save with your right hand and answer me. Which is not the point. The right hand is not the point, but the idea there is save me with your strength. You have the strength to save me. Elohim has spoken in his set apartness. I exalt, I portion out Shechem and measure out the valley of Sukkot. Gilad is mine, and Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is the defense of my head. Yehuda is my inscriber, Moab is my washpot, and over Edom I cast my shoe. Shout loud, O Philistia, because of me. I portion out Shechem. Shechem is where Abraham is buried. And where Israel lived. In Genesis 37, Joseph talks about the dream that he had. Start in 6. And he said to them, please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of a field, and see, my sheaf rose up and also stood up. And see, your sheaf stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf. And his brothers said to him, shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you rule over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and his words. And he dreamed still another dream and related it to his brothers and said, See, I have dreamed another dream. And see, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me. And he related it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother, and I, and your brothers, indeed come to bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Yisrael said to Joseph, Are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I send you to them. So he said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me. So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What do you seek? And he said, I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep. And the man said, They have left here, for I heard them say, Let us go toward Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said to each other, See, this master of dreams is coming. Now then, come, and let us kill him and throw him into some pit, and shall say, Some wild beast has devoured him. Let us then see what comes of his dreams. But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands, and said, Let us not strike his being. And Reuben said to them, Shed no blood, throw him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands and bring him back to his father. So it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his robe, the long robe which was on him, and they took him and threw him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal, and they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilad with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Mitzrayim. And Yehudah said to his brothers, What would we gain if we kill our brother and cover his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and not let our hand be upon him. For he is our brother, our flesh. And his brothers listened. And Midianite traders passed by. So they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they took Joseph to Mitzrayim. Shechem is not actually where Abraham's buried. Gilad is mine, and Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is the deliverance of my head. I find it interesting that Manasseh and Ephraim and Gilad, and Joseph is sold to Ishmaelites from Gilad, going down to Mitzrayim. The Valley of Sukkot. Do you know what Sukkot is? Well, we've got two more here. We've got Moab, Edom, Yehudah, and Philistia. Oh. Okay. I'm starting to see a pattern. Exodus 15 is where they're singing to Yahweh. And if we start at verse 2, let's take it from the top. Then Moshe and the children of Israel sang this song to Yahweh, and spoke, saying, I sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my fathers, and I exalt him. Yahweh is a man of battle, Yahweh is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them. They went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahweh, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath. It consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The flood stood like a wall. The depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The flood stood like a wall. The depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil. My being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You did blow with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahweh, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in set apartness, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your loving commitment you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength you guided them to your set-apart dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled. Anguish gripped the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled. The mighty men of Moab trembling grips them all the inhabitants. Trembling grips them. All the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell upon them. By the greatness of your arm they are silent as stone, until your people pass over, O Yahweh, until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahweh, which you have made for your own dwelling, the set-apart place, O Yahweh, which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went with his chariots, and his horsemen into the sea. And Yahweh brought back the waters of the sea upon them, and the children of Israel went on dry ground in the midst of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister... this ended at verse 18. Yahweh reigns forever and ever. So we've got Edom, who is the sons of... What's Jacob's brother's name? Esau. The sons of Esau are the Edomites. Quite possibly India today, not confirmed. Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom I cast my shoe. Like, what a phrase. I throw my shoe at them? Like, what? Moab is my wash pot. And I'm thinking about how much whoring happened with the Moabites and how much they became a proving ground for Yahweh, so to speak. In that Moab is my wash pot. Like, he can go clean people up there and torture them and test them in Moab. Yehuda is my inscriber. This says, see Genesis 49:10. Interestingly enough, we can go there. I would liken it to the scribes that we see all over. Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, nor an inscriber from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him is the obedience of the peoples. This is a blessing from Israel on Jacob, on the 12 sons. nor an inscriber from between his feet. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehuda, nor an inscriber from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him is the obedience of the peoples. These saying Judah will be blessed, the most blessed, the golden scepter, if we remember from Esther. The king, if anybody tries to come and talk to the king, and he does not give them the golden scepter, I think it says they get killed. Nehemiah, Chronicles, Ecclesiastes, Esther. Esther 4:11. All the sovereign servants and the people of the sovereign's provinces know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court to the sovereign, who has not been called, he has but one law, to be put to death, except the one whom the sovereign holds out the golden scepter, who then shall live. But I have not been called to come to the sovereigns these 30 days. So the scepter is a form of blessing here, and the inscriber is the record keeper, which blessing comes true. Let me get on this side so y'all can see me better. Moab is my washpot. Golad is mine. Manasseh is mine. Which is very, period, end of sentence. They're mine. They don't... There's not much to say about them. They're just mine. He gets where they're coming from. He understands their sins. And Manasseh... We'll read more about Manasseh in Judges, I believe. But they kind of just, fall off. They're not a super, we're going to go to... Genesis 30. Oh no, Manasseh doesn't have a name definition because he's not of Joseph, or he's not of Israel, he's of Joseph. See if we have a definition. For Manasseh. Genesis 41:51. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for Elohim has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. The ability to forget their sins. But then, I don't know what Galad means. To have a definition on that. Shechem is the son of Hamor, the Hewite, prince of the land. Goyim. I didn't know that Goyim was an actual place. I just thought it was a derogatory word. Like the Spanish people have gringos. Gringo, gringo. Goyim. So you can learn so much about the world. Magog. Go yourself out of here. Alright. Galad is mine, Manasseh is mine. Ephraim is the defense of my head. Which, the fruit of the land, the defense of my head. The defense of my like my esteem. The fruit of the land is the witness to me. That is incredible. Like, man, blows my fucking mind every time I read this word. There's just so much more depth in it than, and like, I know because I'll say some stuff, I'll do a reading, and then somebody else will point something out from the chapter, and I'll remember reading it and be like, why didn't I make that connection? So, like, however many hours I spend in this word, there is infinitely more information in here. So, do not take my word as boundaries. Everything that Yah gives me isn't everything that Yah has to give. Shout loud, O Philistia, because of me. Who would bring me to the strong city? Philistia, the Philistines, Gaza. Gaza and Palestine. Yeah. Hundreds of years of war. They are ever going to be at war with Israel until a certain man brings peace to Israel and the Middle East, brings peace to the Middle East. And I don't know what duration that is for. We're going to look into that later in the Word, but keep in mind that that man is an indicator. Somebody you want to stay away from. Who would bring me to the strong city? Who shall lead me to Edom? This is David talking again. Have you not, O Elohim, rejected us? And you do not go out, O Elohim, with our armies. Give us help from distress. For the help of man is not. In Elohim we do mightily, and he treads down our adversaries. Couldn't have said it better. No explanation needed. That is as, like, bing, bang, boom, chronological, nepotistic as it could be written. Who shall lead me to Edom? Have not you, O Elohim, rejected us, and you do not go out, O Elohim, with our armies? Give us help from distress, for the help of man is not. In Elohim we do mightily, and he treads down our adversaries. Psalm 61. Hear my cry, O Elohim. Listen to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call unto you. When my heart is faint, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower in the face of the enemy. Let me sojourn in your tent forever. Let me take refuge in the concealment of your wings, Selah. For you, O Elohim, have heard my vows. You have given me the inheritance of those who fear your name. You add days to the days of the sovereign, his years as many generations. Let him dwell forever before Elohim. Prepare loving commitment and truth to preserve him. So I sing praise to your name forever when I pay my vows day by day. Hear my cry, O Elohim. We've seen that before. I've made the argument before that the desires of your heart need to be divulged in truth in order for Elohim to recognize your call. Even we talked about it earlier in repentance. And hear my cry, O Elohim, when you actually get down and you cry out and you bare your heart before Elohim. And I know we just talked about the help of man is not, in Elohim we do mightily, but if you're around people of Elohim and you bare your heart and you cry out with your heart, there's a witnessing that occurs. And so going back to this young lady, should have asked her if she had any single friends and said, well, I'm here to find a wife. And that's not what happened. But I realized that after. And so cry out, and cry out in public. Cry out in public for the joy of Elohim to have witnesses born to your works and the desires of your heart. And people will know if you're lying. Listen to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call unto you. When my heart is faint, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, the capital R, rock. Isaiah 26, 28, 26. Verse 4, trust in Yahweh forever, for in Yahweh is a rock of ages. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. I think it's in Deuteronomy 32, too. You are my rock of ages. Verse 4, the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling, an El of truth and without unrighteousness. Righteous and straight is he. From the end of the earth I call unto you. Yeah, we talked about from your lowest point. Wherever you are on the earth, he'll hear you. But wherever you have, however far you've ran from him and taken his name in vain, there is repentance. When my heart is faint, that's when you need it most. I walked in here, I was like, I don't feel like reading the Bible. I goddamn need to read the Bible right now. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Yeah, he is. You have been my refuge. I also realized that the actual first time that that's said this morning when I was reading Psalms, because I was just reading Psalms, I was looking for something, but I don't remember what it was, is in Psalm 2, verse 12. Kiss the chosen, lest he be enraged and you perish in the way. For soon his wrath is to be kindled. Blessed are all those taking refuge in him. And it's in 7:1, it's in 9, it's in, I always want to say 14, but I don't think it is in 14. Is it in 14? It is in 14, 6. It's in Psalm 18, at least in verse 31. No. 30. It's in... so many. We just went through a bunch of them last night. I know it's in Psalm 31. It's in probably 26, 28. Basically every other psalm says that he is our refuge. If not half of them, at least a third. No, a quarter. 27. I gotta get my hands on a Strong's Concordance, like an actual book. I'm not using the website because we don't do that here. Sometimes, but it's less than ideal. Let me take refuge in the concealment of your wings. We talked about the wings yesterday as well. In Psalm 59, I thought it was. Maybe it was 57. Yeah, the beginning of 57. In the shadow of your wings I take refuge. Let me take refuge in the concealment of your wings. We talked about the wings in Ezekiel. Even the Ezekiel 1:24, and when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of many waters, like the voice of the Almighty, a tumult like the noise of an army. And when they stood still, they let down their wings, and a voice came from above the expanse that was over their heads. When they stood, they dropped their wings. And the expanse over their heads was like the likeness of the throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone, and on the likeness of the throne was a likeness as the appearance of a man high above it. And from the appearance of his waist and upward I saw what looked like glowing metal, with the appearance of fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his waist and downwards I saw what looked like fire and brightness all around. As the appearance of a rainbow in a cloud on a rainy day, so was the appearance of all the brightness all around it. This was the appearance of the likeness of the esteem of Yahweh, and when I saw it I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one speaking. And he said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet so that I speak to you. And the Spirit entered into me when he spoke to me and set me on my feet, and I heard him who was speaking to me, and he said to me, Son of man, I am sending you to the children of Israel, to a nation of rebels who have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me until this day. And the children are stiff of face and hard of heart, to whom I am sending you. And you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh. And they, whether they hear or whether they refuse, for they are a rebellious house, shall know that a prophet has been in their midst. And you, son of man, do not be afraid of them, nor be afraid of their words, though thistles and thorns are with you, and you dwell among scorpions. Do not be afraid of their words, or discouraged by their looks, for they are a rebellious house. And you shall speak my words to them, whether they hear or whether they refuse, for they are rebellious. And you, son of man, hear what I am speaking to you. Do not be rebellious like that rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat what I am giving you. And I looked and saw a hand stretched out to me, and see, a scroll of a book was in it, and he spread it before me, and it was written on the inside and on the outside, and written on it were lamentations and mourning and woe. And he said to me, Son of man, eat what you find, eat this scroll, and go. Speak to the house of Israel. And I opened my mouth, and he fed me the scroll. And he said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach, and fill your stomach with this scroll that I am giving you. And I ate it, and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. And he said to me, Son of man, go to the house of Israel, and you shall speak to them my words. For you are not sent to a people of foreign speech and of difficult language, but to the house of Israel. Not the many people of foreign speech and of difficult language, whose words you do not understand. If I had rather sent you to them, they would have listened to you. But the house of Israel is going to refuse to listen to you, for they refuse to listen to me. For all the house of Israel are hard of head and hard of heart. See, I shall make your face as hard as their faces, and your forehead as hard as their foreheads. Like adamant stone, harder than flint, I shall make your forehead. Do not be afraid of them, nor be discouraged at their looks, for they are a rebellious house. And he said to me, Son of man, receive into your heart all my words that I speak to you, and come with your ears. And go, come to the exiles, to the children of your people, and speak to them, and say to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh, whether they hear or whether they refuse. And the Spirit lifted me up, and behind me I heard the sound of great rumbling voice. Blessed be the esteem of Yahweh from his place. And the sound of the wings of the living creatures touching one another, and the sound of the wheels behind them, and the sound of a great rushing. And the Spirit lifted me and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, while the hand of Yahweh was strong upon me. And I came to the exiles at Tel Abib, who were dwelling by the river Kabar. And I sat where they were sitting, and sat there, stunned among them 7 days. And it came to be at the end of 7 days that the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and shall warn them from me. When I say to the wrong, you shall certainly die, and you have not warned him, nor spoken to warn the wrong from his wrong way, to save his life, that same wrong man shall die in his crookedness, and his blood I require at your hand. But if you have warned the wrong, and he does not turn from his wrong, nor from his wrong way, he shall die in his crookedness, and you have delivered your being. And when a righteous one turns from his righteousness, and shall do unrighteousness, when I have put a stumbling block before him, he shall die. Because you did not warn him, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he has done is not remembered, and his blood I require at your hand. But if you have warned the righteous one that the righteous should not sin, and he did not sin, he shall certainly live, because he has been warned, and you have delivered your being. And the hand of Yahweh came upon me there, and he said to me, Arise, go out into the plain, so that I might speak to you there. So I got up and went out into the plain, and see, the esteem of Yahweh stood there, like the esteem which I saw by the river Kabar, and I fell on my face. And the Spirit entered me and set me on my feet, and spoke with me, and said to me, Go, shut yourself inside your house. And you, son of man, see, they shall put cords on you and bind you with them, so that you do not go out in their midst. And I make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you shall be dumb and not be a reprover to them, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with you, I open your mouth, and you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yahweh. He who hears, let him hear, and he who refuses, let him refuse, for they are a rebellious house. Got a lot of the wings there. I want to go to one other slot here in Exodus. Okay. So in Exodus 25, Yahuwah is teaching Moshe how to build all the facets of the dwelling place and the Ark of the Covenant. Well, I guess primarily the Ark of the Covenant. Start in verse 13. And you shall make poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold, and shall put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to lift up the ark by them. The poles are in the rings of the ark. They are not taken from it. And into the ark you shall put the witness which I give you. The witness is the tablets. And you shall make a lid of atonement of clean gold, 2.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits wide. And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold, make them of beaten work at the 2 ends of the lid of atonement. And make 1 cherub at one end, and the other cherub at the other end. Make the cherubim from the lid of atonement at its 2 ends. And the cherubim shall be spreading out their wings above, covering the lid of atonement with their wings, with their faces toward each other, the faces of the cherubim turned toward the lid of atonement. And you shall put the lid of atonement on the top of the ark, and put into the ark the witness which I give you. And I shall meet you with you there from above the lid of atonement, from between the 2 cherubim which are on the ark of the witness. I shall speak to you all that which I command you concerning the children of Israel. And you shall make a table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. So what we've got here is basically the cherubim facing each other with their wings like this over the ark, the lid. Here's the lid, and then the cherubim are covering the ark. And here's, in this area, Yahuwah is saying, it is there that I will meet with you. And I shall meet with you there, and from above the lid of atonement, from between the 2 cherubim, which are on the ark of the witness, I shall speak to you all that which I command you concerning the children of Israel. So, there's nothing to interfere with the voice of Elohim there. Clean gold, cherubim, who were also used to protect the Garden of Eden. In Genesis 3. And Yahweh Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us to know good and evil, and now lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. So Yahweh Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. And he drove out the man, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. barrier. It's a protector. 2. Non-interrupted word of Yahweh. For you, O Elohim, have heard my vows. You have given me the inheritance of those who fear your name. Blessing. You add days to the days of the sovereign. His years as many generations. Let him dwell forever before Elohim. Prepare loving commitment and truth to preserve him. So I sing praise to your name forever when I pay my vows day by day. You have heard my vows. Pay my vows day by day. You add days to the days of the sovereign when I pay my vows day by day. You have heard my vows. His years as many generations. Let him dwell forever before Elohim. Prepare loving commitment and truth to preserve him. So I sing praise to your name forever. Every single day. Praise Yahweh. Every single day. Get up, do what's got to be done, live in the word of Yahweh, walk in the way of Yahweh every single day. Praise Yahweh.